Hello guys, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Goals Galore and welcome to my final day of the Premier League predictions. Of course, an incredible season, but this is of course match week 38 predictions for the Premier League, the final day, and to be honest, there's not too much to play for. We still have a title battle, which is in Man City's hands though, so it's not that interesting because they're likely to beat West Ham, of course, and Arsenal host Everton, which still could potentially happen. There is a chance, and while there's a chance, of course, an upset could happen, but Man City, the quality they've shown recently has been incredible. Of course, at the bottom of the table, we still have, of course, to sort out the final relegation spot. However, of course, Luton would have to score quite a lot of goals and hope Burnley would beat Nottingham Forest and by quite a few goals as well for the goal swing for goal difference. Champions League spaces are already sealed up, but of course a few teams in mid-table can swap positions. But really, going into the final day, we've had much more entertaining ones, and the only real thing that can potentially change are, of course, that final relegation spot and the title winners. Let's get into my predictions, and I'm very intrigued to know yours. In the comment section down below, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and subscribe. Let's get predicting the final day of the 2023-24 Premier League season. So we begin at the Emirates, where they know they have to win and hope West Ham can do them a favour with drawing to Man City, where of course Arsenal have an incredible goal difference and they will win the league if that was to happen. First of all, though, they have to beat Everton. Everton this season, they'll feel that they've been hard done by with the Premier League and VAR on multiple occasions. Premier League more so, of course, their 8-point deduction still surviving relegation. Credit to them and Sean Dyche. And hopefully next season, they can start to kick on. And of course, new stadium. I think it's next season it's coming, isn't it? Which is very exciting times for Everton. As for Arsenal, though, they have to win this one. I think they will, in style, and they'll leave it over to West Ham to do them a favour. In this one, Arsenal to win 3-0 at the Emirates. Moving on to Brentford versus Newcastle. This season for Newcastle has been quite underwhelming. I think it's fair to say after the high standards they did set last season. They have had quite a few injuries this season, which could be why they have sort of fumbled a little bit. But as for Brentford, it wasn't a great season for them, let's be honest. But of course, looking at the grand scheme of things, they've stayed up, and of course Ivan Toney is back, and they'll have to wait and see what happens in the summer. I think next season Brentford, it'll be very interesting because they have started to slip down the league a little bit now. Next season, will it be their season to get relegated, or will they eventually climb back up the table again? Very intrigued. It could go one of two ways, but in this game, end of season, nothing really rides on it. But I do think Newcastle will get the win 3-1 away at the G-Tech. Moving on to Brighton hosting Man United, and Man United got the win midweek against Newcastle, of course. As for Brighton, defeat to Chelsea. Brighton has been very underwhelming season. You know, last season under De Zerbi, it looked like they were going to push on this season to potentially finish once again the European spots, but it doesn't happen. And I think Man United as well, very underwhelming from them. They could finish, I think it's like 8th in the Premier League, and that's a very low finish for a club like Man United. A lot has to happen at both of these clubs. In this game, though, down on the South Coast, at the Amex, I can't separate the sides. 2-2 on the final day for these two sides. Off to a game with some meaning on it. It's relegated Burnley hosting Nottingham Forest, and of course, Burnley will have to try and help out. Of course, a team they got promoted with last season, and a team they're about to get relegated with this season, Luton Town. To help them stay up, they'd have to beat Forest. Forest, though, they're basically safe. A point would do the job for them, and you know what? I see them getting more than a point. 2-1 win away at Turf Moor. Next season, Forest is going to be very tricky. Of course, we've got 3 more quality teams coming back up from the Championship this season, and you know it's going to be much harder again in the Premier League next season. And Forest, if they don't, you know, spend well in the summer yet again. You know, they've had that breach of financial fair play, so they've got to be careful this summer again, but they could lose some big stars like Morgan Gibbs-White, who's been ruined with links away. Will they be able to build on this next season, or would it be their fate sealed like Brentford? They're both in similar positions, them two clubs, and next season I wouldn't be too surprised if one of them did get relegated. As for Burnley, I fully expect them to bounce back next season. Vincent Kompany's won the Championship before. This time was just a bit too early, I feel, in his career, his manager career for the Premier League. But I think next season they will bounce back and stronger. In this one, though, score prediction, Forest to win 2-1 away at Turf Moor. Off to Stamford Bridge for Chelsea versus Bournemouth, two sides that have had, pretty similar seasons, and I think that's better to be said for Bournemouth because a lot of people at the start of the season under Areola, no one knew how it would go, but he's actually done really well. Slow start, but they've really have built on it, and Bournemouth are a really exciting club at the moment. As for Chelsea, of course, spent so much money. They have done well in other competitions this season, but next year the expectations are going to be very high. Of course, Poch has had now a full season with this group of players, and now next year they really have got to push on and push for the top four. At least, the amount of money they spent is ridiculous. In this one, though, I do think Chelsea end the season on a high 3-1 win at home. They really have started to look of the old Chelsea where we all used to see it. And maybe next season they can surprise everyone and push for top four. In this one, Chelsea to win 3-1 at Stamford Bridge. Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa next up, and two sides who are very, very exciting at the moment in the Premier League. Crystal Palace with the likes of Eze and Olise and Mateta even these days really are very exciting. As for Aston Villa, of course, qualifying for the Champions League for next season, a big step for the club. Of course, 5 years ago, they're in the Championship, and the ambition from the owners has been incredible from Aston Villa, and showing that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. In this one, though, it'd be a really tricky game away at Selhurst Park, and I think Crystal Palace spoil Aston Villa's Champions League party, and they get the win here. Palace 2, Villa 1 on the final day. Moving on to Liverpool hosting Wolverhampton Wanderers. Of course, Klopp's final game of his tenure at Liverpool. And to be honest, I think we'll all be better for it because we won't have to hear him moaning about the fixture congestion, the 12:30 p.m. kickoffs, everything like that. We won't have no more moaning from Jurgen Klopp. On the flip side, though, he's been a great manager and brought Liverpool back to life. And can't wait to see what Arne Slot does next season at Liverpool. As the Wolves under Gary O'Neill, I thought they really would struggle this season, but he's proven to be a top manager at this level. And of course, a decent season for Wolves. More than decent, really. It was a really good season for Wolves after declining last season. In this one, though, farewell to Klopp. Liverpool to win 3-0 at Anfield on his farewell. Off to Luton Town versus Fulham. Luton Town at home, they know they have to win. It's not in their hands, though. All Forest need to do is get a draw against Burnley to confirm their survival. And even if Burnley were to beat them, Luton would have to score quite a lot of goals to swing the goal difference. I think it's like 12-goal swing, which is needed. It's not impossible. It's just very, very unlikely. And against a side like Fulham, who this season have been impressive yet again, and in this one, I can't see Luton Town winning. They'll go back down to the Championship, and I expect them, to be honest, to be in at least the playoffs next season. Really good side. And in this one, though, Fulham to confirm Luton Town's fate and get relegated. Luton Town were written off by a lot of people, including myself, at the start of the season. They really have surprised us, but I can't see them surviving. In this one, Fulham to win 2-1 away at Kenilworth Road. And best luck to the Hatters next season in the Championship. And hopefully they can bounce back. Off to Manchester then, Man City hosting West Ham. And of course, West Ham with a decent season. They confirmed that David Moyes will leave at the end of the season. I think that probably was the right call. It does seem like his time there has come to a close, and probably is the right time for both sides to depart their separate ways. But David Moyes has been incredible for West Ham. Winning the Conference League, of course. I remember the early days of Moyes where Jesse Lingard was there. I think that was in the COVID season. Was unreal. And he just kept building at West Ham. Because when he came in, I'm pretty sure they were in a relegation battle the season before. Starting to get sucked into that. So he really has stabilised the club at the top end of the Premier League. But I do think it probably is the right time for both parties to depart. Against Man City on the final day, West Ham really can help Arsenal out here. I can't see it happening. No, Man City, great win against, of course, Fulham last week, and then Spurs midweek. Spurs really could have helped Arsenal out there, but of course, all that controversy, it didn't materialise. In this one, Man City to win the title. 4 in a row, and they'll win 4-0 here to make it 4 in a row. They're unstoppable, and they'll keep on going under Pep Guardiola. Man City to win their 4th Premier League and win 4-0 at home against West Ham. Wouldn't be too surprised if this one was a bit like recent times where West Ham were 2-0 up at half-time and then City won it 3-2. It's just so predictable these days. But for me, Man City, 4 in a row, 4-0 in this one. And the final game to predict is Sheffield United. Of course, already confirmed relegated for a few weeks now. For most of the season, it really has been really disappointing. But next season now, be really intriguing to know what's going to happen with the manager. Is Wilder going to stay on? And how the club does in the window. Because, you know, the last transfer window, they lost like Sander Berg to rivals Burnley for survival. Element and Die as well leaving was another huge blow. They did manage to get Gustavo Hamer, but a lack of Premier League experience quality players in the end has hurt them. I think like Everton, Diaz has been really good since he's come in, offered them something different up front, but in the end he's not been able to do it all on his own. As for Spurs, it's not been an awful season, not been a great season, fairly respectable in Ange Postecoglou's first season here at Spurs. And on the final day, I think Spurs do win 4-1 away at Bramall Lane to confirm, of course, the final game of Sheffield United's season and their reign in the Premier League yet again. They will be back, of course. They're like one of those sides like Fulham, the old Fulham, and Norwich, the yo-yo clubs. They're turned into that. But in this one, Spurs to win 4-1 on the final day. Well then, guys, hopefully you have enjoyed that video. Of course, the Premier League coming to an end. And if you have, be sure to drop a like and subscribe as always. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, very intrigued to know. And I'll see you in the next one very soon, guys. We will be live for the final day of the Premier League season roundup on Sundays. Be sure to join us, and I'll see you in the next one very soon, guys. Take care. Good